Hello, everyone. This video is dark, obviously. This video I've wanted to do for a while now, but because of reasons of either being too cold or just when I go walking, I don't want to talk because there's people there, or time because of school and because of everything else going on, I just haven't. But today we're going to focus on the word support. It'll probably turn into a ramble because every video I do does, because it's coming from a place of like inside. This is coming from a personal place. So they become rambles because I don't script anything. So I do apologize. But what I really want to focus on, if I don't get derailed, is the word support. Because it is something that's hit very close to home. For me, I won't get into reasons why. That part's not important. The purpose is defining support. I will start by saying the same thing that I normally say. I'm not certified in any way. This is all my opinion. Unless I ever say anything different, that's how it's always going to be, but I'll try my best to make it very clear that these are all opinions. And yeah, so we'll just kind of jump right into it. Now, the word support has come up a lot somewhat recently. Back when I wanted to do the video like a month or two ago, it was very big into question. But lately, it's kind of soothed out and everything because the events and stuff have passed. But still want to talk about it. I really want to talk about the word support and what it means to different people and what I personally think is the right way to view support. So what originally happened isn't important, but the point is, this sprung up because, in my opinion, someone's using the word support wrong. Now, it may fit their life better, and that's fine, and that's dandy, so that's why I'm going to put wrong in quotes and dark quotes as best as you can see it. It's just not how I think support should be used, and to use the word support in this situation, I feel like there would be better words to use in place of it, that while not positive wording, would be much more accurate wording. And I'd rather people be accurate about things, because I already have another video planned later that's going to be about harsh realities and harsh truths that we have to tell ourselves. But if you're going to use the word support, I just feel like it needs to be done or defined correctly. So the reason this is coming up is because, in some people's opinion, at least the way it comes across, is the mentality of, if you're not with me, you're against me. And with that, they use support as being like, well, if you don't agree with my choices, then you don't support me. I have a problem with that. In some circumstances, it makes sense. Like, each individual thing in your life gets evaluated differently, obviously. If you decide to eat an orange and someone randomly is like, I hate oranges, goodbye, then, like, yeah, they're not being supportive. You're just eating an orange. And in that instance, they're being negative towards that choice because of something they don't like that's about them, and not that they don't like it because it affects you, the person making the choice, and the person using the word support. And I think that's where the big crucial difference is. If someone, especially people who are considered friends, years and years worth of friendship, triply so, family, close friends, relatives that are inner circle, mentors, teachers, therapists, like anyone that knows you intimately, loved ones, spouses, anyone that knows you really intimately and really well and really close, if they're coming to the conclusion that something you chose isn't good for you based on how they feel about you, that's not inherently negative criticism if it can be backed up very closely by, I don't like this because of how it affects you, your place in it. The choice that you made affects you negatively because of X, Y, and Z. That can be constructive criticism, especially as it gets where if there's more and more people coming down the same path or a similar path, and your situation or your reaction is to go, wow, no one's supporting me because everyone is calling out this decision and pushing that away. That's not them not supporting you. That's you not wanting to take criticism. Now, granted, that being said, and I still feel like it's true even in the next example or next thing I'm going to say, it doesn't always mean that everyone else is right. You could have a 99 people tell you that something is wrong for you because of X, Y, and Z, and it could be all people that care deeply about you, But if you're the one out of 100 and you feel strongly the other way, sometimes it does work out. Caveat though, vast majority of the time it's not going to work out that way because we are humans living in the real world and not screenplays written by Disney, unfortunately. As cool as that would be, I would love to have a musical soundtrack playing everywhere I go. Unfortunately, that's not quite the case. So I'm not saying it's impossible, just heavily improbable. So if a lot of people are coming to you and saying like, "Hey, like, at bare minimum, think this through." Just because they say that doesn't mean that they don't support you. Even if they go as far as to say, "I don't like what you chose, what you've done, what you're going to do, what you're planning on doing, because of this, that, and the other." As long as those this, that, and the other parts are directed in a way and are truthful in a way of, I don't like them because of how it affects you and what it could potentially do to you based on my knowledge of you, then that's not them not supporting you. That's the opposite. To me, that is support. That is a massive amount of support because you know how hard it is for a friend. I mean, yeah, even yourself. Like, ask yourself this: like, if a friend makes a bad choice, we're so inclined. A lot of people are so inclined to not speak anything of it, for fear of risking losing that friendship. So it takes a lot for someone to come out and openly admit to you, "Hey, I personally feel, as your friend, that this thing is not good for you." They're risking a lot to put that out there. They're letting themselves be vulnerable with you. And I'm sure that you've done it in the past. I mean, hopefully we all have. Like, it's a far better thing to do, is to risk the friendship to show earnest care for someone, than it is to keep your mouth shut and just hope for the best. At least in my opinion. I mean, I'm not perfect with it by any means. I've certainly failed at it a lot of times in my life and probably will continue to do so until the day I die. But being mindful and aware of that goes a long way, because the truth of the matter is, if you're critical of someone like that and you do pose it the right way, you express why it can affect them and why that's the scary part, the negative part, and you're looking out for them, and they react by either pushing you away or ignoring it entirely, which ignoring is a little bit different, but if they outright push you away, it's kind of hard to consider them a close friend anyways, because if they can't handle criticism coming from you at all, like, can't even at least consider thinking about it and then actually think on it and at least hear you out, why would you want to be vulnerable with them by telling them anything that's actually important with you as an individual? You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. So in those instances, I feel like that is support, is them being critical of you. And as more and more people say things to you, or if you're part of a group of people who are saying things to someone else, like if you're at a church group and a bunch of people there are expressing genuine concern for you because of choices and everything, or in a professional setting and all your coworkers are like, "Hey, buddy, I don't know if that's a good idea for this work environment," and stuff like that. Like, at least take it into consideration. That is them being supportive of you. To me, that is the core of support. It's not, "I'm disagreeing with you, therefore I don't support you," or, "Hey, someone's disagreeing with me, therefore they're not supporting me." Like, that's not them not supporting you. To me, that's doing the opposite, because it takes a lot to go out of your way, again, to just put yourself out there and be vulnerable with someone and express your opinion, knowing full well that they might get defensive. Um, so, yeah, to me, that's support. The mindset of, if you don't wholeheartedly agree with everything I do, then you're not supporting of me, that's not support. That's you looking for a cheerleader, a mindless cheerleader or a yes man who's just going to tell you, "Hey, I'm always happy for you. You always make the right choice." Because at the end of the day, the complete honest truth, we as individuals are so good at being able to pinpoint so many things in other people's lives. We struggle and we fail so many times seeing those things to us, because we write our own narratives, and so ingrained in our minds, or it's been so ingrained in us, that the hero of the story always makes the right choice, and we're all the heroes of our own story. Unfortunately, in story writing, you can delete and rewrite until you have the perfect hero. You don't always get that choice in real life. A hero in a story can have everything erased and remade. You don't get that option in real life. When you make choices, you stick with them in the sense of you've made them so they've happened. You can't do over. And it's so easy for us to say, all these things aren't going to affect us because our story is different. Our life is different. This chapter is different. Our book is different. Again, I really like the pen metaphor and the we write our own stories. But when we hold the pen for our own story, it's really hard to see everything. And an outsider's perspective looking in, whether they're someone that's really close to you or someone that is somewhat new, you need to take all of that information in and then make choices. That's support. The requirement that someone always agreeing with you, that's not support. That's cheerleading. And cheerleaders are great. They make us feel good, but they're only great in the moment. Once the game's over, most people aren't going to look back on it and think of the cheerleading, unfortunately, because it is cool, but they're going to think of the actions that happened, the shots that were called, the outcome of the game. There's a reason why we think that way, because that's what works and that's what applies to our life. So, thanks for listening to the ramble. I feel like this one was actually much more on track than normal. And yeah, with that being said, if you feel like something's wrong or right, and you feel like you just need to express it to a friend, even if you're scared to, you should express it to someone, because it can make a major difference in someone's life. Just hearing that, hey, I'm concerned because I care about you as an individual and the inner self of you. So, thank you. Have a good one. Goodbye.